It's April 2025, and Syria stands at a crossroads. 4 months ago, in December 2024, the iron grip of Bashar al-Assad's family, which ruled the country with an unrelenting fist for over 50 years, finally broke. Rebel leader Ahmed al-Sharaa stepped into the role of interim president, carrying the hopes of a nation weary from war and oppression. The streets of Damascus buzz with a cautious optimism, a flicker of light after decades of darkness. Yet beneath this hope lies a stark reality. Syria's economy is a shadow of what it once was, battered by 14 years of civil war, corruption, and isolation. Sectarian clashes last month claimed hundreds of lives, maybe more, reminding everyone that peace is fragile. So, what's the way forward for Syria's economy? How does a country this broken pick up the pieces and build something new? As someone who's followed the halal industry and Middle Eastern economies for over 2 decades, I've seen economies rise and fall. Syria's story is one of resilience, and right now, it's a story begging for bold action. A poll conducted for The Economist around late March paints a picture that might surprise you. Despite the trauma of war and the fresh scars of violence, 70% of Syrians, spanning the country's diverse ethnic and religious groups, say they're optimistic about the future. 8 out of 10 feel freer than they did under Assad's suffocating rule, and a similar number view Sharaa favorably. 2/3 even say security has gotten better, despite the recent bloodshed. For a nation that's endured 500,000 deaths, millions displaced, and an economy shrunk by over 80% since 2010, this positivity is nothing short of remarkable. It's a lifeline, a chance for Sharaa and the world to seize. But here's the catch. 58% of those same Syrians say the economy has either stalled or worsened since Sharaa took over. Optimism won't pay the bills, or the civil servants who've gone unpaid since December. The economic mess Sharaa inherited isn't just bad, it's a disaster. Before the war, Syria had a decent setup. Oil exports brought in cash, wheat fields fed the region, and a growing middle class fueled trade. Then came 2011. Protests turned into a brutal conflict, and Assad's regime leaned on Russia and Iran to cling to power, torching the country in the process. Factories crumbled, farmland turned to dust, and sanctions from the West cut Syria off from the world. The Syrian pound, once 47 to the dollar, now trades at over 15,000. A doctor's monthly salary? About 25, barely enough for a week's groceries. The World Bank pegs the economy's contraction at 84% since 2010, leaving GDP at a measly $6.2 billion in 2023. Meanwhile, Assad's cronies raked in billions trafficking Captagon, a drug that did nothing for the people starving in the streets. Sharaa's got no cash to spend, no oil flowing from Iran anymore, and a workforce desperate for jobs. It's a tall order for anyone, let alone a former rebel with a jihadist past. So where does Syria go from here? The first step is staring everyone in the face: lift the sanctions. America and Europe slapped these penalties on Assad to choke his war machine, and they worked too well. Now, they're strangling Sharaa's efforts to breathe life back into the country. Foreign companies can't invest in rebuilding roads or factories because of the legal risks. Banks won't touch Syrian transactions, leaving exporters high and dry. Syria's even had to buy sanctioned Russian oil just to keep the lights on. Ironic, given Russia's role in propping up Assad. The poll shows people want change, and Sharaa's promising a free market system, but without access to global trade, that's just talk. Western leaders hesitate because of Sharaa's old ties to Al-Qaeda. And I get it, nobody wants to fund a potential extremist. But here's the thing, Syrians aren't buying that narrative. They trust him, at least for now, to steer clear of jihadism. The West could ease sanctions with a safety net, say a 6-month trial, ready to snap back if Sharaa veers off course. It's a low-risk move that could unlock billions in aid and investment. Next, Sharaa needs to get the basics running again. Civil servants haven't seen a paycheck in months, and that's a ticking time bomb. Pay them, even a little, and you keep the government from collapsing. Then there's oil and agriculture, Syria's old breadwinners. The oil fields, mostly in the northeast, are under Kurdish control, and talks with the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces are shaky. Sharaa's team could strike a deal, shared revenue for stability, and pump what's left, though experts say the reserves are thinning. Agriculture's trickier. Half the farmland's wrecked, irrigation systems are gone, and 12 million Syrians need food aid. Restarting wheat production means fixing the land, and that takes money Syria doesn't have, yet. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Ukraine have pledged help, and the diaspora's itching to invest. Sharaa's already loosened import rules, which could flood markets with cheap goods, but local manufacturers are nervous they'll get crushed. Balance is key. Open the doors, but protect what's left of Syrian industry. Security's the glue holding this together. The poll says most feel safer, but those sectarian clashes in March show how fast things can unravel. Shah's been folding rebel groups into a national army, and that's smart. Idle fighters with guns are a recipe for trouble. His new cabinet, announced just days ago, is a mixed bag. It's heavy with his loyalists, no prime minister in sight, but it's got minorities, technocrats, and a woman. If he gives them real power, not just titles, he might calm fears he's hogging control. The Sunni majority and Alawite minority are still eyeing each other warily, and trust is thin. Keep the violence down and people might stay patient while the economy limps back to life. The world's got a role here too. America and Europe can't just sit back and watch. Asset recovery's a start. Assad looted the central bank before fleeing to Moscow, and those billions could rebuild schools or hospitals. The US could lead on that, tracking down the cash stashed abroad. Then there's the diaspora. Millions of Syrians, many educated and wealthy, ready to pour money into their homeland. I've seen this in other markets. When expats trust the system, they bring capital home. Shah's team is courting them, and early signs are promising. Add in aid from Arab states and maybe a World Bank loan once sanctions ease, and you've got a lifeline. It won't fix everything overnight, but it's a spark. Here's the flip side. If this stalls, the optimism fades fast. No jobs, no food, no power, people won't wait forever. Extremists are lurking, and chaos loves a vacuum. Shah's popularity, 80% approval, is a golden ticket, but it's not permanent. The poll shows 58% already see the economy as stuck or sinking. Delay too long, and those hopeful voices turn angry. I've watched this happen elsewhere. Goodwill evaporates when stomachs stay empty. The West risks repeating old mistakes, letting Syria fester until it's a problem again. Shah's no saint, but he's got a mandate, and Syrians are giving him a shot. That's rare in a place this torn. So what's the way forward? It's a three-legged stool: lift sanctions to open the gates, kickstart oil and farming to get cash flowing, and lock down security to keep the peace. Shah's got to move fast, pay the workers, cut deals with the Kurds, and show results. The West needs to bet on stability, not perfection, and roll back the barriers holding Syria back. The diaspora and Arab neighbors can chip in, turning hope into concrete and jobs. Syria's been through hell, but 70% still see a light ahead. That's not just a number, it's a call to action. After 50 years of Assad family, Syrians deserve a chance to build something better. The clock's ticking. Let's not waste it.